Alright, so we now have a transverse section TS of the testis. What we are seeing inside is the lumen of a seminiferous tubule. What does a TS show? Each seminiferous tubule is lined by a layer of cells which are called as germinal cells. So we have this entire layer of cells which are called as germinal cells. These are cuboidal cells. They are cube-shaped cells, and the entire layer is called as the germinal epithelium. When cells form a continuous layer, it is called as epithelium. Say our skin is made up of squamous cells, and this is called as squamous epithelium. Similarly, the seminiferous tubule is lined by a layer of germinal cells, which is called as germinal epithelium. What is the length of the seminiferous tubule? If you remember, seminiferous tubule is 60 centimeters in length, and 60 centimeters all along it is lined by the germinal epithelium cells. What are germinal cells? Mother cells, when they divide to form daughter cells, sperms, or they divide to form daughter cells, ovum or egg, then the mother cells are called as germinal epithelium cells. So in sperms we have germinal epithelium cells, they form sperms. In ovary also we have germinal epithelial cells, they form the egg or the ovum. So mother cells which divide to form sperms or egg are called as germinal epithelial cells. At puberty, at the age of around 12 to 14 years, the germinal epithelial cells undergo a process of cell division which is called as spermatogenesis. And please memorize this straight away. What will germinal cells divide? Germinal cells will first divide to form a layer of cells which are called as spermatogonia. Germinal cells divide to form spermatogonia. Spermatogonia form cells which are called as primary spermatocyte. What does spermatogonia divide to form? Primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte then form cells which are called as secondary spermatocytes. What do primary spermatocytes form? Secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes divide to form cells which are called as spermatids. What do secondary spermatocytes form? Spermatid, and spermatids then form mature sperms which are also called as spermatozoa. So what do spermatids form? Mature sperms called as spermatozoa. This process is called as spermatogenesis. So once again, what is present at the periphery of the seminiferous tubule? Germinal epithelium cells. What do they divide to form? Spermatogonia. What do spermatogonia form? Primary spermatocytes. What do primary spermatocytes form? Secondary spermatocytes. What do secondary spermatocytes form? Spermatids. What will spermatids form? Mature sperms, also called as spermatozoa. How will this process of cell division take place? So third, here we have the real presentation of spermatogenesis. At the periphery of the seminiferous tubule, we have cells which are called as germ cells. So here we have germ cells. Germ cells are diploid. They have 44 plus XY sex chromosomes. So, in a normal diploid cell, we have nucleus, and nucleus where we have chromosomes. How many chromosomes we have? We have 23 pairs of chromosomes, 23 pairs of chromosomes, of which 22 pairs are called as autosomes. Autosomes, also called as somatic chromosomes. Autosomes also called as somatic chromosomes, and we have one pair of sex chromosomes. One pair of sex chromosomes. And sex chromosomes are of two types. You all have heard of it in school: X chromosome and Y chromosome. In case of us humans, in case of females, they have 44, 22 pairs, in other words, 44 autosomes and X plus X or XX sex chromosomes. In case of males, we have 44 autosomes, in other words 22 pairs of autosomes, 44 autosomes plus XY sex chromosome. So females में कौन से हैं? 44 plus XX. Males में कौन से हैं? 44 plus XY. So what do the germ cells at the periphery of seminiferous tubules have? 44 plus XY sex chromosomes. At puberty, at the age of 12 to 14 years, these germ cells undergo a type of cell division called as mitosis. And by mitosis, it divides to form two cells. Two cells which are called as spermatogonia. Not given in your notes, you may remember, by mitosis, one cell divides to form two cells which are genetically the same. And in mitosis, the chromosome number remains constant. So what will 44 plus XY form? 44 plus XY, 44 plus XY, mitotic cells, and what are these called as? Spermatogonia. To be specific, these are called as spermatogonia A and spermatogonia B, of which spermatogonia A enlarges in size to form a primary spermatocyte. Spermatogonia A enlarges to form a primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte now undergoes cell division, golden word, not by mitosis but by meiosis. And सुना है in meiosis chromosome number becomes half. In mitosis, chromosome number remains the same. A diploid cell will form two diploid cells. But in meiosis, chromosome number becomes half. A diploid cell will form two haploid cells. So, what will the primary spermatocyte undergo? Meiosis, and diploid will become haploid. 44 plus X plus Y will now become 22 plus X and 22 plus Y. So diploid has now become haploid. Chromosome number has now become half. So two cells are formed with half the number of chromosomes, and these cells are called as secondary spermatocytes. So which is the first haploid cell formed? Secondary spermatocytes are the first haploid cells formed. And that process of cell division is called as meiosis. I hope you have heard of it. Mitosis takes place only in one step. Meiosis takes place in two steps. The first step, primary spermatocyte divides to form two haploid secondary spermatocytes, is called as meiosis 1. In meiosis 1, chromosome number becomes half, diploid becomes haploid, and that is called meiosis 1. And secondary spermatocytes now undergo the second cell division, which is called as meiosis 2. And meiosis 2 is same as mitosis. Meiosis 2 is same as mitosis, so chromosome number will remain the same. And that means 22 plus X divides to form 22 plus X, 22 plus X. 22 plus Y will divide to form 22 plus Y, 22 plus Y. And two cells have now formed 4 cells. And these are 4 haploid cells which are called as spermatids. So what are these 4 haploid cells called as? Spermatids. Golden word, one primary spermatocyte has undergone meiosis 1 to form 2 haploid secondary spermatocytes. Both haploid secondary spermatocytes undergo meiosis 2 to form 4 haploid cells which are called as spermatids. This process of cell division is called as spermatogenesis. And spermatids do not divide. They are already haploid and they will not divide. They simply produce a tail. And by forming a tail, they form a tail-like structure. And by forming a tail-like structure, they undergo metamorphosis, structural changes. And a structural change to form a tail, this structure formed is called as a spermatozoa, or in simple words, mature sperms are produced. So what are these processes of these spermatids now forming? Tails. And with tail formation, what are the cells called as? Spermatozoa, or mature sperms are produced. This process of spermatids forming a tail is called as spermiogenesis. What was germ cells forming spermatids by mitosis, enlargement and meiosis? This entire process is called as spermatogenesis, and spermatids forming a tail and forming spermatozoa or sperm is a process called as spermiogenesis. So once again, germ cells undergo at puberty mitosis to form spermatogonia A and B. Spermatogonia A enlarges to form primary spermatocytes, undergoes meiosis 1 to form 2 haploid secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes undergo meiosis 2 to form 4 haploid cells called as spermatids. This process is called as spermatogenesis, and spermatids give out a tail and they form haploid sperms or spermatozoa. That last process is called as spermatogenesis. So that's the beautiful logic of spermatogenesis. Not given in your notes, but I would want you all to know this. Sir, ये spermatogonia A ने spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis किया. What about spermatogonia B? इसका क्या होगा? Spermatogonia B are the future germ cells. Spermatogenesis has to take every day, and germ cells will remain behind in the form of spermatogonia B. Next day, spermatogonia B will divide to form by mitosis 44XY and 44XY. Again, these are called spermatogonia A and spermatogonia B. A will undergo meiosis to form sperm. B will remain behind as a germ cell. Next day, B will again divide to form spermatogonia A and B. A will undergo spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis. B will remain behind as a germ cell. Next day, B will again divide to form A and B. A will divide by spermatogenesis. B will remain as a germ cell. And this B will remain as a germ cell every day, and sperms are produced till death. There is no way that sperm production will decrease. Spermatogenesis starts at puberty and continues till death of the male, and so ये continuous sperm production होते ही रहते हैं. Women have something called as the menopause. After 45-50 years of age, women stop producing eggs and they cannot become mothers. But a man, with the help of his germ cell spermatogonia B, continues to produce sperms till death. Beautiful logic. What is this entire process called as? Spermatogenesis. What is that last step called as? Spermiogenesis. And these sperms produced now get attached to tall columnar pyramid shaped cells which are called as Sertoli cells. ये जो tall columnar cells है, इनको क्या कहते हैं? Sertoli cells. And Sertoli cells provide nourishment to the sperms. Sperms को वो fructose देते हैं, and using that fructose, sperms will become motile. They will start moving, and that process of Sertoli cells giving nourishment to the sperm is a phenomenon called as spermiation. Spermiation. So 3 words हमने use किए: spermatogenesis, spermiogenesis, and spermiation. What does germ cell dividing to form spermatids called as? Spermatogenesis. What does spermatid forming tail to form mature sperms called as? Spermiogenesis. And what do mature sperms do now? They get attached to the Sertoli cells, absorb nourishment from it, and start moving by the beating of their tail. What is that process called as? Spermiation. So this is the beautiful logic of cell division, spermatogenesis taking place. In between these germinal cells are found tall pyramid shaped cells which are called as Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells which are also called as sustentacular cells. What are Sertoli cells also called as? Sustentacular sustentacular cells, also called as nerve cells. What are they also called as? Sertoli cells also called sustentacular cells, also called as nerve cells. Sertoli cells provide nourishment to the testes. Sertoli cells act as a source of nourishment to the testes, and that process is called as spermiation. And Sertoli cells give mechanical support for spermatogenesis. So Sertoli cells के बीच में spermatogenesis takes place. So mechanical support is given by Sertoli cells, and Sertoli cells provide nourishment, fructose to the sperm. Hence, it helps in spermiation. So, sir, nourishment is provided to the sperm twice. First, within the testis, Sertoli cells provide fructose to the sperm, and then sperms are given nourishment by the seminal vesicles. So, Sertoli cells and seminal vesicles, which have seminal fluid rich in fructose, both Sertoli cells and seminal fluid are rich in fructose. Nourishment is provided to the sperms twice. And sir, we had these cells which are called as spermatogenic cells. So what are the dividing cells called? Spermatogenic cells. Then these cells are called Sertoli cells or sustentacular cells or nerve cells. And in between the seminiferous tubules के बीच में होता है a lot of connective tissue. White fibrous connective tissue is present, and that connective tissue has in it isolated groups of cells. ये है isolated groups of cells, and these isolated groups of cells are called as the Leydig cells. What are these cells called as? Leydig cells. Leydig cells also called as interstitial cells. What are Leydig cells also called as? Interstitial cells. And Leydig cells or interstitial cells produce the male sex hormone called as testosterone. So that's both of your questions answered. Who will produce sperms? Sperms are produced by seminiferous tubules. And who will produce testosterone? Leydig cells, also called interstitial cells, produce the male sex hormone called as testosterone. And what will these Leydig cells do? They give out testosterone. सुना है hormones go directly into blood. So testosterone goes into blood vessels, and from blood vessels testosterone will pass out of the testis and enter into the body. When is testosterone produced? At puberty, 12 to 14 years of age. So spermatogenesis takes place at puberty, and testosterone is also produced at puberty. So both happen at the same time. And what will testosterone do? Testosterone will go from the testis into the male body, and it will produce lots of changes in the male body. सबसे पहले at the age of 12-14 years, do you boys remember you saw yourself in the mirror and आपके थोड़े थोड़े बाल आने लगे थे, and धीरे धीरे जैसे टेस्टोस्टेरोन बढ़ता गया, you got a proper mustache and you will have a beard. Now all boys will have facial hair production. Hair in the mustache, hair in the beard, facial hair develops because of testosterone. Testosterone also acts on your chest and produces hair on the chest, in the armpits, in the abdominal region, and just above the penis, something called as pubic hair develops. So facial hair, body hair, pubic hair and armpit hair develop all because of testosterone. Your voice changes. If you all boys observe, your Adam's apple has become enlarged. Your Adam's apple is nothing but your voice box, and testosterone acts on your voice box and your voice box becomes enlarged. Girls, if you see it, your voice box is not protruding out. I have a clearly protruding voice box, and similarly all you boys would have your voice box protruding out. That is because of testosterone. And your voice becomes deep, husky, masculine आवाज आ रही है, and you have a nice deep husky voice, a very masculine tone to it. That is because of testosterone. Increase in height and muscular strength takes place. In school, you boys would remember, boys and girls would be of the same height, 6-7 standard. As a matter of fact, if you boys remember, many of the girls in your class were taller than even you, and you would look at them like this, they would look at you like this. But suddenly, in the last few years, you all are having an exponential increase in your height, and compared to girls of your age, your height is now increasing. That is because of testosterone. Testosterone increases your height. Testosterone also acts on your muscles and give you strong muscles. So your muscles are becoming stronger compared to girls of your age. Your shoulders are becoming broader and your hips are becoming narrower, and you are developing the classical V-shaped physique. You find bodybuilders with a proper V-shaped body, and that V-shaped body that you develop is because of the action of testosterone. All these changes are called as secondary sexual characteristics produced by testosterone. Testosterone also acts on the penis, and the length of the penis will increase. In a child, the penis is only for passing urine, micturition. But now he has reached puberty, he will soon have an erection, and erection के बाद ejaculation. For that, testosterone acts on the penis, and the length of the penis will increase so that a proper erection is possible. And your three glands, seminal vesicles, prostate gland and Cowper's gland, in a child, they have no function. But now that sperms are produced, along with sperm, semen also has to be produced. So, testosterone stimulates your seminal vesicles, prostate gland and Cowper's gland, and all three glands start giving out their secretions, and along with sperm, semen also is produced, which will get ejaculated. So, all sex glands are stimulated by testosterone. And testosterone acts on the brain and produces classical psychological changes. To start with, testosterone makes you males become more aggressive. If you all would remember, boys and girls, girls would remember all that better. When they were in school, boys were quiet, docile. The teacher would come and shout at you and you would be scared. Now, that was school. Now you're in college, loaded with testosterone. Now, you are no longer scared of your teachers. Your teachers are scared of you. पहले मम्मी आपको बोलती थी बेटा होमवर्क करो तो आप लोग हाँ करता. अब मम्मी आपको बोलेगी चलो होमवर्क करो, कर रहा हूं ना. सडनली एग्रेसिव. मम्मी भी सरप्राइज, इसको क्या हो गया, एकदम रिबेलियस हो गया है. नॉट योर फॉल्ट, इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ टेस्टोस्टेरोन. Testosterone is acting on your brain and making you more aggressive. And testosterone acts on your brain, on a part of your brain called as the limbic system, and develops a psychological attraction for the opposite sex. You start liking people of the opposite sex. Many of you must have observed school mein there were boys, girls in the same class, and now suddenly you find one of them, you ask him, kya ho gaya? Nowadays you are talking to that girl a lot. So what happened? Well, she's become my girlfriend. अब suddenly friend से girlfriend कैसे हो गया? स्कूल में तो सेम बात करते थे, सब साथ में ही थे. अभी suddenly she is my girlfriend, and sir, you say she has stolen my heart. Well, she has not stolen your heart. Your brain has been punctured by testosterone. Testosterone is acting on your brain, and you are developing a psychological and sexual attraction for the girl in your class. That is happening because of testosterone. So testosterone, lots of changes in you. Facial hair develops, hair on the chest, in the armpits, in the abdomen, pubic hair develops, increase in height, increase in muscular strength takes place. The penis becomes more elongated, the seminal vesicle, prostate gland, Cowper's gland start producing semen because of testosterone, and aggressiveness develops, and the psychological and sexual attraction for opposite sex develops because of testosterone. Third, why does this happen at puberty? Puberty में ऐसा क्यों होता है? Because at puberty something happens in your brain. आपके brain में एक biological clock होता है called as your hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus is your biological clock, and it will measure every second, minute, day, week, month, year of your life. And hypothalamus को मालूम है आप puberty के एज पे आ गए हो, and you are 12 to 14 years of age. Now your hypothalamus gives out a hormone called as GnRH. GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone. What is GnRH? Gonadotropin releasing hormone, and GnRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, now acts on your pituitary gland. And pituitary gland starts giving out hormones called as gonadotropins. And these gonadotropins are given by pituitary gland under action of gonadotropin releasing hormone. And gonadotropins are of two types, namely FSH and LH. So which are the two gonadotropins? You have FSH and LH. FSH called as follicle stimulating hormone, and LH which is called as luteinizing hormone. So FSH follicle stimulating hormone and LH luteinizing hormone. Golden words, last few lines here. Follicle stimulating hormone stimulates your seminiferous tubule and stimulates germinal cells to start undergo spermatogenesis. And spermatogenesis is controlled by FSH, and LH, which is also called as luteinizing hormone, acts on your Leydig cells, and Leydig cells are getting stimulated, start producing the male sex hormone called as testosterone. So once again, at puberty, your hypothalamus biological clock starts giving out gonadotropic releasing hormones. Gonadotropin releasing hormone acts on your pituitary gland, and pituitary gland gives out gonadotropin, FSH and LH, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone stimulates the germinal cells to undergo spermatogenesis and produce sperms, and luteinizing hormone acts on the Leydig cells to produce testosterone, and thus everything is started at puberty because of your biological clock called as your hypothalamus. I'm sure you all have understood everything. Please read this well again from the notes that have been sent. Go through the notes, see the video again if you have doubts in it, and in the Zoom session, please clear your doubts, all of you, and we will take care of it in the next topic. Okay? Take care. God bless you. See you all soon. Bye-bye.